I welcome you all warmly into the world of success and public speaking skills. In today's episode, we are going to understand the head of the presentation, body of the presentation, and the tail of the presentation. So, in this connection, we are going to understand very interesting things. So, stay tuned. Well, the public speaking ins and outs. So, broadly, you can divide your presentation into these three steps: the head, the body, and the tail. So, which is important? If you ask, everything is important because public speaking is not just sharing the information with the people, but captivating the audience and making them feel important, making them understand the concept, and primarily getting your purpose done. So, what exactly is your purpose that you need to decide? Before you go ahead with the presentation, you need to decide why are you conducting that particular meeting? What is your objective? What is that you want to achieve? So, you need to have total clarity. So, once you are clear with the objective of the presentation, then accordingly you can design your presentation. So in fact, the great marketing people, they say that the closing starts even before the opening. So sales closing, it is an important terminology in sales. Sales closing means how you are going to get the deal done. So sales is very simple. So sales means what? So giving the product to the customer and getting the money. So that is the sale. So that particular process, if you can achieve through your interaction, so that is called sales closing. And the marketing people, the marketing consultants and the coaches, they simplify it. They say that in simple terminology, the closing happens even before you start. It means what? Begin with the end in the mind. And here, this particular presentation which you are giving, so it is no less than sales. Salesman is not necessarily a transaction where money is involved. In fact, your ideas you are sharing and you are motivating the people and you are getting your purpose done. So that's the reason you can follow that principle here also. Begin with the end in the mind. What is that you want to achieve through your presentation? What is that you want to achieve? So no person reaches onto the stage and speaks without any purpose. So that is a meaningless. In case if anyone is just like that reaching the stage and just like that if he is talking, means that never happens. So you must have a purpose. You must have some kind of idea before you reach onto the dais. So then decide how it is to be executed. So begin with the end in the mind. So closing happens even before the opening. So that's what we can establish in the head of the presentation itself. So now the time allocation. So in fact, you can decide your presentation in this way. So you can design your presentation in this way. First of all, you have a clear idea how much time is given to you. Is it 10 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour, 45 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours? That way. So once you are clear with the time, then you allocate your time in this particular fashion. So 20% of the time you need to allocate for the head of the presentation. 60 minutes of the time you allocate for the body of the presentation, and remaining 20 minutes you allocate it for the tail of the presentation. Now, what are all the things we need to take up in each of these aspects? The head of the presentation. So head of the presentation, it has opening address and introduction of yourself or introduction of the necessary aspects. And in this process, you can even get the pulse of the audience. So you can understand the audience. So are they friendly? Are they really following you? Have you got the grip over them? And have you made them captivated? And have you got their attention? All these things you can understand. So whether they are able to follow your language, are you getting connected? So these kind of things you can get in the opening address itself. And then state the purpose, why you are giving this presentation. So here you are advised to follow You-centric sentences. You, you-centric sentences. So what is it? So in fact, every time the audience would like to listen to a sentence which is in their angle. So for example, let me tell you. For example, I am here to sell you a motorcycle. Let us assume. So I am here to make the sales of a motorcycle. Now I am telling you this motorcycle gives very good mileage. So that is a fact, for example. But audience may not get connected heavily with that sentence. This motorcycle gives very good mileage. Instead of that, you can reconstruct that sentence in such a way that you can save lot of money every time you ride this bike. You can save money every time you ride this bike. So it means what? The mileage aspect only we are talking. But in what way it is beneficial to them? So in that angle, if you start your presentation, in what way it is going to be beneficial for the audience? So my dear friends, you are going to get great amount of wisdom. You are going to gain great amount of knowledge. And this particular topic is designed in such a way that keeping your needs in the mind. So you are the most important person and you are going to gain so much of information today. So like that, every time you are reconstructing the sentence in such a way that audience are getting connected and audience would like to listen audience centric sentences. So this also can be done during the opening address itself for stating the purpose why you are giving that particular presentation. Now this head of the presentation, these are all the things we can cover. Then the body of the presentation. So this is the primary thing. So your entire purpose is this only. You want to give a presentation, you want to communicate to the audience. So great trainer Jim Rohn says that the majors and the minors in life, the majors and the minors. For example, if a student has to go for the examination and if he has to go and write the examination, so in this, what is a major thing and what are the minor things? So getting ready and getting prepared for the examination and taking a shower, taking a breakfast and getting ready for the examination, putting on the shoes, taking the hall ticket and then reaching the examination center. All these things are minor things. The major thing is sitting there with total focus and answering all the questions meticulously, clearly, with total dedication. That is the major thing. So in the same way, every aspect of life, we can understand in this particular angle, the major things and the minor things. So a while ago, we discussed how to dress for the presentation and how to follow one up principle and how to get ready for the presentation and how to make yourself presentable and how to talk, how to prepare. All these things are minor things. The major thing is getting success at the time of presentation. So now the real thing is happening. The presentation is a real thing. Now this is the time where you are supposed to deliver, because rest of the things, even if you compromise with to some degree of extent, but the real thing is the time of presentation. At the time of presentation, if you can excel, then that is a real victory. So major things and minor things, that principle is applicable here also. So get ready with all the main points and get related information at the top of your mind and related to your topic, any important dates and any important references are needed, get them all ready and get ready with suitable examples and suitable short stories where audience will get connected. And if you have any scientific data and if you have got the latest information and latest developments in the media about the topic that you are covering, this kind of information you need to have and be up to date. And audience will always would like to take the latest pieces of information. Audience would like to get the latest news. So that is the reason you have to be up to date. You have to update everything. So this is the body of the presentation. So 60% of the time you have to focus on these things. Then finally, the tail of the presentation. So many a time I observed during my college days or many a time during my profession, I observed many trainers. They come like a super express. They just start, they just deliver, and then they disappear. So they focus on the body of the presentation only. That is what I'm trying to say. So in fact, nurturing the audience happens during the opening, the head of the presentation. And the body of the presentation, this is a place where you are giving the information to the audience and where you are sharing and where you are enlightening, where you are making them knowledgeable, where you are making them grasp the information. So the primary thing, all the important things are happening during the body of the presentation. Agreed. But the remaining things, the tail of the presentation and the body of the head of the presentation are also important. The head and the tail are also equally important. Now, the head of the presentation, we talked what are all the things to be discussed, and the body of the presentation we discussed. Now we are coming into the tail. The tail of the presentation is also equally important. In this, we are going ahead with a very important aspect that we are getting connected with the audience here. So we are building a bridge. We are building a bridge with the audience. Here you are quickly recapitulating in a nutshell. So nowadays you might have observed in books, personality development books, and the books where they are trying to give you information. Even at the end of the chapter, you might have observed the summary, the important points in this particular chapter, and how you can practice and what is the activity that you can take up from this particular chapter. So like that, these are the things they are giving even at the end of each chapter. So now at the end of the presentation also, you can follow the same principle. All these things can happen during the tail of the presentation. So here you are summarizing. You are giving a quick summary and you are giving a quick recap of the bullet points of the entire presentation. So what is the take home for them? How they can make use of the knowledge? This kind of things you can give during this quick recap. Then you can encourage the audience to interact. You can encourage the audience to ask questions. So of course, if the gathering is small, they can stand up and they can ask. If the gathering is a little bit huge, then you can ask them to circulate their questions in the form of small chits and let some volunteers be moving around and let them bring and let them give. So it all depends on the situation. But all is said and done, all said and done, ensure you are interacting with the audience and allow the audience to get connected with you. And if the audience is very huge in size, like a football stadium kind of thing, at that time you can make them, you can in that case also you can involve. You can in that case also you can interact. How? You can take some important points. So did you understand this point? Yes, like that. So you have to ask leading questions, yes or no kind of thing. So that way you have to take a few important points. Are you really going to practice? Are you going to put it into real life situation? Now have you got the energy? Like that. Make them involved. Get them connected. So this is also very important. Then finally, thanking note. So thank the people and wish you and then wish them all the best. And then you have to express a kind of hope that in future also again and again I am going to come and meet you. So all these things you can take up during the tail of the presentation. Now in each of these things I am going deeper and deeper. The opening address, that is head of the presentation, opening address I talked about. In the head of the presentation, opening address. In opening address, again, I'm going deeper and deeper. So like that, this particular journey is going to continue because the objective of this public speaking series is to make you a great speaker. So my dear friends, are you comfortable with this particular series? Are you enjoying? So put your comments in case you are watching this particular series on YouTube, put your comments in the comments box. So I wish you all the best. Let us reassemble again and we continue this particular journey. All the best.